Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today is day numero 5 of the 14-day video day challenge for the month of June. Now, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, on this glorious Sunday afternoon, on the eve of E3, which is so weird considering I feel like every single year as time goes on, E3 gets earlier and earlier in the week. Like normally the trade show opens up on Tuesdays, but all the conferences are starting on like Mondays and Sundays, and in some cases I wouldn't be surprised if it starts on the Friday beforehand, so they make it like a weird week-long thing. Regardless of that, we are going to be discussing Google Stadia. As you guys know, they recently had their second unveiling event where they gave out all the details surrounding it. They told you everything you need to know about the latency and bandwidth and the price for the versions and of course the subscription. And I'm not going to use this time to go over all of those things because I'm sure you guys have seen them. Just check on Twitter, or I'll actually post them up here. You'll be able to see, what speeds you hypothetically need to run the games at the particular resolutions, and of course the price you want to pay for the standard subscription and the founder edition. And that's just evident to show that I really don't care about streaming media, more specifically streaming video games. It should be no shocker to anyone that I am a very big proponent of physical media, and I already know right there a lot of people who are pro streaming future, pro all digital. That's gonna piss them off because I am so ignorant and I don't see the writing on the wall and how this is gonna be the future. And in 5-10 years time, we're gonna be streaming everything from our video game systems onto our tablets and phones, and even on our refrigerators. We will be able to play The Elder Scrolls 7 on our refrigerators while we are figuring out what we want to get for breakfast. Now that's all well and good. I love the future. I love how far we've come in just 10 years time. Streaming, when it comes to video games, when it comes to large, massive games that are like 50, 100 gigabytes. Latency? Yeah, no, streaming is nowhere near the place it needs to be to adopt a streaming-only platform. No way. Not going to happen, especially when you have really time-sensitive video games such as first-person shooters or fighting games. Now, this should be no shock to anyone, because if you've watched any video on Google Stadia or Microsoft's xCloud or whatever they want to do, streaming is not really looked at favorably for gamers. It's more often than not looked at favorably by people in the tech industry who apparently are all-knowing and all-wise, and they're just basically saying all this stuff so they don't get axed from their corporate sponsors and everything. But I'm not that type of person, because realistically, when you look at how streaming media goes, even if you have the fastest internet around, like I have Verizon Fios. I actually switched my whole family over to Verizon Fios because over here we had Optimum, and Optimum was just literally hell. When it came down to giving us the speeds that we were promised, we never got it. Like, we've bought multiple routers, we've used their own personal routers, and we never got those speeds. But when we switched over to Verizon Fios and we got a dedicated line, all those problems went away. It's been great having Fios in the house for the past 6 months. Now, that being said, even though I love Fios and we're getting the fiber optic speeds and we're paying less, I am in no particular situation. I have no desire to use that as my primary form of gaming and streaming. Why? Because it is always, even though you're using fiber optics, it is going to be so variable when it comes to streaming stuff. There's times when I'm watching Netflix and sometimes the quality will dip every now and then. Now, as you know, for things like Netflix and YouTube and watching streams online, it's not that big of a deal because, yeah, it'll, buffer a little bit and it'll change the quality of the video or the audio to suit the situation, but then it kicks right back up because you're not interacting with that. That's fine if there's a little bit of a delay. But when you're talking about playing video games, streaming those, like do people just not think about that at all? We've seen this with OnLive. They tried to do this back in 2011. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that was back in 2011. That's almost 10 years ago. Look at PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now has a lot of subscribers, and PlayStation Now is a streaming platform. Yeah, PlayStation Now is a streaming service. You can stream PS4 and PS3 games, and that's good on Sony. But that is not the primary way to play games. In fact, PlayStation Now just got a much needed update where you can download PlayStation 4 games to your hard drive and play them locally. You can't do that on Google Stadia. Every single game that you have on there is owned by them. You have no ownership whatsoever. So if you don't pay the subscription, you can't play those games. What happens if you want to buy games on there and own them? What happens when the servers go down? Google is notorious for launching all these services and ideas and then shutting them down. Now I know you guys will say, well, you're just being a doom and gloom negative Nancy. That will never happen. Oh, well, it's already happening with digital. There are tons of games from publishers, whether they're small indie titles or they're big AAA games, that get delisted from the store all the time. And sometimes we get the benefit of them getting relisted on there, but sometimes they're just not there anymore. And since there's no physical copy, you have no way of tracking it down to play it. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. You guys know this, and I know everyone's going to say, oh yeah, of course you're going to use that example. Well, yeah, because it works. It makes sense. I have that game downloaded on my PS3. And God forbid anything ever happened to my PS3, you know? Because not every game has the luxury of being re-downloaded. Some games get delisted and you can't even re-download them. So, are we seriously supposed to believe that an all-streaming future is the wave right now? With the way that internet is set up for the vast majority of the United States, and we are a very privileged nation, but there are still tons of places that don't have stable internet. And then you go to other countries that don't have stable internet. So this is really going to only affect a small minute group of individuals who want this. And even then, there are going to be caveats with it. You have to hope and pray that your internet is stable at this time and there's not too many people on your network. Not everybody has the luxury of getting a Verizon Fios. Verizon Fios is not available all around the world, and even then, that is not a foolproof solution. Look at the way they were streaming games on Google Stadia's event. Games like Mortal Kombat. Yikes! And that is a fighting game where it is so precise. Now this should be common knowledge to everybody. This is part of the reason why I'm not a fan of this all-streaming future, where you don't own your games whatsoever. Digital is a more concrete solution to these sort of things, and even then, that's not perfect. Now, what is the only way I would subscribe to a streaming service? The only way I'd subscribe to a streaming service is if it was something set up where you can download those games natively to your platform. This would be a really big win for the Xbox brand. I'm gonna tell you guys why. Xbox Game Pass. You guys know how great of a service that is. If they were to launch xCloud and pair it with an Xbox Game Pass subscription, maybe you pay an extra $5 a month to download all the games locally to your Xbox, but stream it on your PC, on a different Xbox, on your phone, on your tablet, and all you just need is to sync up an Xbox controller, then that is a more concrete solution. Because yeah, you might not be able to play it at the best quality settings when you're out and about on the go using your 4G, but you can still play enough, upload that save to the cloud, and then be able to play it when you come home. That is a more concrete solution for a streaming future. That is the way that you adopt it to the masses, as opposed to just making it primarily streaming. So in that respect, I could see Xbox and Microsoft doing that, and it actually work out rather well. But for Google and just the track record that they have, it's not something that I want to see. It's not something that I will support. And even, me being a person who loves all these forms of tech and what they do in the future and what this could mean, streaming is just not there. And I'm not going to support it. I'm not going to tell anyone else whether or not they should support it, because you guys have your right to try those things out. But as it pertains to now, I'm going to pass on it. Anyways, for me, for now, my name is MGS signing out. Like always, I catch you guys later.